Welcome to another episode of The Guy Code. I am Ronald Serna. Guys, on this episode, we're going to be talking about the fact that she thrives for herself and not you. What does this statement mean, guys? It means that her ambition, her drive, her quality that she's hardworking and a go-getter is meant to serve her own life purpose and not necessarily you. This is brought to light, and I find this episode very timely because there has been certain breakups in the Kenyan celebrity space that have come to the limelight, and not to mention any names or just briefly state some without getting into details. There's been a very popular rapper, and he broke up with this lady who was associated with a former governor and is now a cabinet secretary as at the recording of this episode. Another one is a radio personality in a very popular radio show is now married to a lady who is known to be a YouTube content creator. And also, lastly, there has been the interview of a character comedian who became very popular in one of the media stations. I can mention KTN. And he particularly had this character of a lady. He got to be very popular and a household name because he used to play the character of this lady very in an entertaining way, and it became very popular. So these situations brought together, we understand that the ladies in these situations are very driven ladies, right? They became prominent, they have their own brands. Most of them got to garner their own success in their own way and have been very intentional in letting that be known. Now, when a lady is very driven and ambitious and she has the ability to thrive, she uses this quality ideally for her own means, right? And let me just break this down, guys. And the reason why I say this is because when a lady is younger and maybe she's gifted, right? We understand for most women, on average, they have a lower self-esteem. So when she's young and gifted, she is more vulnerable to be exploited because she has not come into herself and identified and realized that she has this kind of gifting and ability. And she still has that kind of identity issue, is that whether she is really, competent, she is really good at her job. Will people accept her? Will people like her? Is she really up to par? And this identity issue gets her to a position whereby she is easily vulnerable and exploited, right? And in this particular stage, there are men, we must be honest, there are men who come to this point in their life to exploit. Just as there are some who actually men who can come in, and employers going to come in and exploit young people because, they're more desperate, ideally. So when a woman is in this stage and as she gets to interact and work on her skill and maybe practice what she's good at, she gets through different life situations whereby she gets to learn that, this situation are being taken advantage of. She gets to build boundaries. And especially right now with this age of social media, whereby the message is really telling women, do not settle for less, go for what makes you happy, go for what makes you fulfilled, find your purpose. There's a lot of messaging and narrative that is telling women to find their purpose and go after it. And even books on this particular subject. And with all these messages surrounding her, and she gets to process this and take it all in, After the point of 25, whereby maybe she's gotten certain qualifications, she got accredited in certain areas, certain fields, she gets to realize that, by the way, all these skill sets should benefit me first and foremost. And that is why it gets to a situation whereby there's a woman who, they want to be modern women but want traditional men. The fact that she now has the capacity to particularly financially hold down her home doesn't mean she wants to. Many of them don't even want to contribute to the running of that home. That's why there are very many independent women who can contribute highly to a home. They still don't want to go 50-50 because that is the narrative they have decided to go with. So this is the situation we're getting to deal with, guys, whereby these ladies who are getting into relationships later after 25 and getting into relationships with men who we have known that men are mainly romantic. Women love practically. The men who are trying to be romantic and are now getting into situations whereby they saw, oh, this lady is very driven, she has all this great quality, she'll be a great partner for me and my purpose. Well, no, she will be a great, even in the best part, contributor. And I'm saying this not in a very sadistic way or pessimistic way. We're just seeing from the reality and the effect and the consequence that we're getting to know of now from these different situations. They were there for their own means and they are able to work and use their own capacities and capabilities to push their own end. Now, these men have they been able to gain during the tenure of that relationship? So far, we haven't had any positive news that they have. Most of these men in this situation, if you look it up as per the recording of this episode, they have not said anything that they appreciated the contribution of these ladies to their lives. It feels like they are, and these are their words, it seems like they look very desolate, right? From how they are presenting and talking about the break of this relationship and the ending of it. So what we need to know, guys, is that we should not expect women to be some people that they are not, particularly the ones that you want to interact with and the ones that you want in your life. If she's very driven and she has shown that these qualities are meant to push her own needs, do not believe and come from the point that, okay, since we are together, she will try and, make me and push me to win. Could that happen? Possibly. But we should not assume that it is a given with how things are at the moment. And I think these situations will continue to be quite popular, whereby women will go for their own their own interests, will go for their own ambitions, and unfortunately some of these men will turn out to be collateral damage. I just wanted to share this message so that you are in the know and do not find yourself as collateral damage and becoming bitter on the internet because you expected certain women to become people that they are not. Now, guys, I really want this to be a continuing discussion on the Telegram, on my timeline, on Twitter. Do you feel that? And from not even do you feel, from what you have observed so far, because if you talk about feeling, men are very romantic, and we love idealistically on average. But for the most part, would you say that you are noticing that the rise of solipsism that we have talked about in other episodes is now getting a tremendous leap in this particular era and season, whereby you are seeing many women who are very qualified and have a lot of skill to bring to a union, they decide to use that for their own means? And is there any effect to that? From what you observe, I really want you hear your thoughts on this through my Twitter at Guy Code Kenya, Telegram channel and community Guy Code Kenya. Until next time, guys, we shall talk soon. Bye.
Guy Code with Rena Osware.